The Western Conference Final between the Vegas Golden Knights and Dallas Stars has a number of very intriguing storylines, including can Jake Ottinger seize the reins and take this opportunity to prove himself as one of the best in the business? Or will it be Vegas's Golden Knights side of the cast of characters who've been getting it done all season long? Steele and I have the Western Conference preview, predictions, and best bets ready to go for Friday's episode. Thank you for joining us. Let's get right to it.
You're Locked On Fantasy Hockey, your daily podcast on fantasy hockey. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You heard the music, and you know what time it is. It's time for your source for fantasy hockey news. It's the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast, joined as always by my esteemed co-host, Mr. Steele Roden. You can check out all his work across YouTube, NHL Quick Hits, and of course, all across the Locked On Fantasy Network. I'm your boy, Big Flip Livingstone. You know where to find me. YouTube, Spotify, everywhere that you would have checked out all of the latest and hottest NHL betting content. And today's episode, my friends, is brought to you by our new friends at Bird Dogs. Go to birddogs.com/LockedOnNHL. And when you enter promo code LockedOnNHL, they'll throw in a free custom Bird Dogs Yeti-style tumbler with every single order. Also, thank you for making us your first listen every single day. The summertime is lean months for Steele and I in the fantasy realm. You know, we butter our bread in the September through, I would say, Steele, April months when all the fantasy cats are trying to make that money. But on these episodes and on today's episode, we want to break down this Western final. And I know we talked about Carolina and Florida yesterday. I think we're both a bit more jazzed up for this one. And I think it has all the trimmings of a real battle, Steele. And I'm excited to see what you think about how this is going to shake down. Of course, we're going to have our best bets for game one at the end of the episode. We're going to have our predictions and in how many games. And I think also I'm really excited to see what you think about some of my takes on some of these players for both teams. But why don't we start right where we started yesterday? This is a series between two very balanced teams. This is a theme. I sound like a broken record, but I think it's true. Stars, Knights. What are you seeing? Also, let me just throw this at you. Vegas, minus 140 to take the series. Dallas, plus 115. What's your overall thoughts before we get into the nitty-gritty here?
Well, it's great odds for the Dallas Stars at plus 115 to win this series. We've seen it time and time again that they are now a legit threat. You know, you and I at the very beginning of the season, we talked about the question marks surrounding the Dallas Stars. There's no more question marks to me. This is a legit team and a Stanley Cup contending team, and that's why they're in the Western Conference Finals. I think we're going to get a better series than what we saw in the second round between the Dallas Stars and the Seattle Kraken. I think we're gonna get to the predictions later in the episode, but it's gonna be very intense, very physical, and a lot of goal scoring from some of their top guys. So I am very excited about this Western Conference Finals between these two teams. But for X factors, I'll start with the Vegas Golden Knights. For me, you know, I could go the easy way out here a little bit. Go with Adin Hill, him being an X factor if he's the guy that's going to be in the blue crease. I could go ahead and say, I really want to go ahead and say Jack Eichel. He's been so dominant this postseason and even in the regular season. I just think he's been fantastic to watch, and he's been providing exactly what the Vegas Golden Knights need out of him. But for me, my X factor in the Western Conference Finals for the Vegas Golden Knights, it's actually going to be Jonathan Marchessault. And I thought he played terrific in the last two games against the Edmonton Oilers. He's got 5 goals, 10 points in 11 games so far. Again, I think he really did find his game in the second round series against the Oilers. He had high energy level.
For sure.
He was putting pucks on net. He was getting physical. What I was really impressed by from Marchessault so far this playoffs is his ability to get those high scoring opportunities and help set up his teammates with limited ice time. He's the 11th player for the Vegas Golden Knights with the most ice time this postseason. He's averaging over 17 minutes, but to be the 11th player with the most ice time and yet top 4 in points for the Vegas Golden Knights this postseason, he's making the most out of his time on the ice. 7 times so far this postseason, he's skated for 16 and a half minutes or less. That's 7 times out of 11 games. So it's incredible the opportunity that the opportunity that he's getting, and he's making the most out of it. You know, he had 3 assists in Game 5. He had a hat trick in Game 6. He's currently +9 with 2 game-winning goals this postseason. He had 30 shots his last 5 games. He's averaging 4.2 shots a game this playoff. So for me, he's been an X factor. He really stepped up his game in that round 2 series, and they're going to need him again in this Western Conference Finals, because that's the great thing that you've pointed out so many times, that this Vegas Golden Knights team is just so well balanced. They're a well-oiled machine right now, and they're just proving it time and time again with those top players they've got, and Jonathan Marchessault is one of them.
Yeah, and at this time of the year, Steele, like there's a lot of ways you can heap praise on a team, and I think one of the things that you and I have brought up a little bit this week, especially, is how important coaching and these front office moves, that halfway through the season or at the deadline or off season or whatever, really pan out. And that was the first thing I wanted to talk about. And I know when it comes to a fantasy hockey show, we don't talk a lot about coaching and GMs, but Kelly McCrimmon, the GM of the Vegas Golden Knights, and actually the staff that was in there before, deserve a lot of credit for putting this Vegas Golden Knights team together how they have, because I think, like, before I get into anything else, it just needs to be said that this team has literally run out 5 different goaltenders this season.
It's insane.
And that alone, the fact that they are this close to a Stanley Cup, is just, I think, such a testament to overall the balance and like behind the bench, in the front office, just everything. So that's one. And number 2, while I am talking up the Vegas Golden Knights, I think what needs to be remembered here as we head into this series, and I am going to throw an X factor out there, Steele. I know you're probably like, Flip, don't forget what we're talking about. I'm not going to forget. But I think what the fans out there and bettors for this series shouldn't forget is Vegas only finished with 3 more points than Dallas this season.
Yeah.
And the Pacific Division is the worst division in hockey. So those are 2 takes that are just straight up facts. And for me, as much as the Vegas Golden Knights technically have the Vegas advantage, and you know me, I haven't, and this is my last top of my note point, I haven't given this Vegas team any credit, and I've been wrong the whole season. So I need to get that off my chest as well, because you've been saying Eichel, the balanced attack when Stone's healthy. I just think, and we'll get down to the X factors, but clearing away for that odd, I know who I'm betting on this series.
Well, I can't wait to let you for you to let us know who you're betting on later in this episode. But let us know your X factor. Who's the X factor for the Vegas Golden Knights?
So for the Vegas Golden Knights, Steele, I think, to me, you know me, I've been copping out with these answers and like lumping groups together and things like that. To me, it's like, it's clear that this team gets its confidence from its blue line. And maybe perhaps that's why 5 goalies can rotate in and out, and they all looked pretty good. No disrespect to Boissault, Hill, all the guys that were in there this season. But I think it's got to be strength from the defense. And I don't know really how that looks like. And again, this is a super cop-out answer. But when you look at that back end, I think they get the strength of the confidence of the overall team from when that back end plays nasty. They throw their weight around and they really establish that defensive game. So for me, the X factor is at the top of the list for the Vegas Golden Knights, the ability of their defensive pairings to set the tone and definitely protect their goalie. I'm sorry, I know Aiden Hill's numbers have been good, but the advantage here in this series is clearly on the Dallas Stars side of things. I'm going to take Jake Ottinger 400 times out of 100 against any of these Vegas Golden Knights goaltenders, and that's a huge advantage in this final.
It is a huge advantage, and Aiden Hill has the luxury of having probably one of the best defensive groups in the NHL right now. So very strong for him. We are going to get to the X factors for the Dallas Stars as well. We're going to talk about who needs to be better for each team as well. I'm going to talk about one of those defensemen from the Vegas Golden Knights. But real quick, we have to give a shout out to our sponsors from Bird Dogs.
Bird Dogs. And I got to throw some love these guys' way, Steele. Have you gotten your package yet? Your swag bag?
I haven't yet. Coming in tomorrow, baby. Coming in tomorrow.
Because I think we might need to post our first, photo shoot on the socials here. Today's episode is brought to you by Bird Dogs. And you know that these shorts and all of the clothes coming from Bird Dog, it's fit, it's comfort, it's versatility, and it's everything that you need in a new line of clothing. Look better and feel great wearing Bird Dogs. The stretchy fabric is comfortable, and it's comfier than any short or pants I've ever worn. I'm now trying them out, Steele. I can't wait for you to try them out. They're swaggy, comfortable, and honestly, you can wear them on the course. You can wear them to a meeting. You can wear them out for lunch. They give you the freedom to wear one pair of shorts or pants from the golf course to the meetings or to wherever you need to be. And the best part of these Bird Dogs promos, Steele, are these personal success stories. Bert Kreischer wakes up at his lake house wearing Bird Dogs. He goes for a swim. He smokes a stogie. He grills a few bergs, and he chills with the family, all in the shorts he wears all summer. Bird Dogs. Dave Portnoy, he's doing his pizza reviews wearing Bird Dogs, and he talks about how he hates the pizza, but the legs are looking great in Bird Dogs. College football nerds say that the perfect pair of pants for dads, while they have a little extra gut, Bird Dogs make them look and feel great. And pardon my take codes, PFT, they only wear pants, and the shorts that they wear are from Bird Dogs. So make sure you go to check out birddogs.com/LockedOnNHL and enter the promo code LockedOnNHL, and they'll throw in a free custom Bird Dogs Yeti style tumbler with every single order. Make sure you're swagged out from the course to the clubhouse this summer with Bird Dogs. Check out birddogs.com.
It's going to be a beautiful summer wearing all of our Bird Dogs merchandise and all of their clothing lines as well. So many varieties and styles that Bird Dogs have. I can't wait till I get this package tomorrow, Friday morning. But thank you so much for making the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast your first listen every single day. We are a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where you can find a Locked On podcast of your favorite team in all 4 major sports leagues and the NCAA. Your team every single day. Flip. Dallas Stars X Factors coming our listeners' way right now. And I definitely want your take and your opinion on this, what I'm about to say. But for me, the X Factor is Jason Robertson. I think he will be the X Factor in this upcoming series. 2 goals, 12 points in 13 games. And obviously, 2 goals is not what we've seen from Jason Robertson in the past. But other than that, I think he's played rather good so far in the first 2 rounds, all things considered, with this goal drought. And from what I've seen, it's not from the lack of trying. Like, he's got 37 shots on net. He's had some prime opportunities. He's been robbed by the netminder. He's hit posts. He's hit crossbars. He's had some very unfortunate bounces in front of the crease as well. So, again, it's not the lack of trying. It's just, honestly, it just seems whenever the puck comes near him, it takes a funny hop or a funny bounce. And it's just very uncharacteristic from Robertson, where, again, so many times when the puck has been on his stick, it just seems like it's slipping off the blade a little bit whenever he tries to handle it. It's just been it's been bouncing around him whenever the puck comes near him. So it's not for the lack of trying. He's just had some unfortunate luck recently, but he's still setting up his teammates. He has 10 assists, 8 of which have been on the power play. We know that Dallas Stars power play has been very strong so far this postseason. So I think he's been a very, very great player so far. He's not scoring the goals, but that's going to change very quickly in this round. He will be an X factor.
And there's a few things I need to mention right off the top, because this is when you and I connect on these shows, Steele, and that's why we do this together. And by the way, if you're out there listening, make sure you drop that 5-star review, Spotify, Apple, anywhere you're at. And if not, let us know why. But here it is, Steele. This is a player also that, let's remember, yeah, he's coming off the best season of his career and one that really he established himself as one of the best players in the NHL. So the bar is raised. So we are going to expect a little bit more from him, even though, like you said, he's been pretty effective for the most part. But the goals, I think, are going to come. Second, he's flashed some really good moments of looking comfortable in there. And I think this is what happens when the Dallas Stars attack really rolls. The confidence spreads out amongst that top 6, top 9, just like with any good team, and then he can do his thing. So I think that's going to be able to happen for them if they play their game. And I'm going to get to a player that I think needs to be better, and I think that will lead to a lot of confidence for the Stars team. But also, lastly, with RoboCop, he's only got 7 career postseason games under his belt. He's 23 years old, Steele. And I know there's some other players in the NHL now doing things, special postseason things with no games under their belt, #Wyatt Johnson. But that's another point, right? Like there's some times where we have to maybe give a 23-year-old kid with one series, a losing series, I believe, to the Flames last year, under his belt. We got to give maybe him, a little bit more time. And maybe now with 2 rounds under his belt, let's see what happens.
Yeah, exactly. And again, it's just the unfortunate luck he's got going his way right now. It's not for the lack of trying. I've been watching. I watched almost the entire series against the Kraken. He had so many opportunities, just couldn't get the puck in the back of the net. Just got robbed or hit. He hit so many posts in one game, I believe. But yeah, anyway, he's going to be the X factor for the Dallas Stars. We are going to get to our predictions for who wins this series and in how many games and our big time bets. But Flip, real quick, for me, the player for the Dallas Stars that needs to be better or at least more consistent is Jake Ottinger. And I want your take on this.
100%.
Well. Has to be Jake Ottinger for me. And again, everyone out there and probably everyone out there for themselves love this goalie. You and I love this goalie. We've talked about him being
I've traded for him in my dynasty league. I sacrificed a lot to get him.
Third note here, right? On my Word document right now. Great for dynasty and fantasy hockey teams. Took the words right out of my mouth, but this is the playoffs. This is the Western Conference Finals now. You cannot be giving up more than 3 goals a game every other game. And when you look at the 5 losses that he's had so far this postseason, 4 of the 5 losses, he's allowed 4+ goals. He's got a .903 save percentage right now, which is not good enough. Not good enough. The Stars are scoring goals right now. They're scoring goals at will. They've been in some crooked scoring games, might I add, but Jake Ottinger needs to make that extra save now. We're talking about the Western Conference Finals. Every single
100%.
game that he's won so far, it's been 3 goals or less. So even if he's only facing 25 shots, if he can just make that extra save, make sure it doesn't get over 3 somehow, then they're golden, because that just seems the way it's trending for Jake Ottinger, but he needs to be a little bit more consistent with the saves.
Knocked it out the park, pal. That's exactly where I was headed, because I think, honestly, that's where the clear edge in this series is, because, you could debate the forward balance. You could debate what each defensive core brings on their best nights. And, the Golden Knights are a rough and tumble team that can really start to throw their weight around, especially on the blue line. And I mentioned it as an X factor, and I'm going to cop out again. And I think the blue line can be even better at that bottom end of things. Whitecloud, Martinez, Theodore for the Vegas Golden Knights.
Yeah.
They're going to need to be. Right? They're going to need, that's how important it is to this series, in my opinion. They have to be better, and they're the X factor, just because Jake Ottinger plays his game, Steele, in my opinion, and I know at times he's really been shaky. Got chased twice in the last series against the Kraken. So, but when he plays his game, and if he does, to me, the series clearly has an advantage in the net to the one side with the Stars. So that means even more pressure on this Golden Knights team to defend Adin Hill. Also, given what's happened with these Golden Knights goalies, literally every other week, it seems the guy who starts to get good gets hurt, right? Even John
it's
Quick.
It's goalie carousel. It's been a goalie carousel.
But what happens if Adin Hill gets hurt? They're not confident in Quick. Boissau's hurt. Everyone else is hurt. Do they go? Who was that 5th guy that they threw in there once? Who was that guy?
I can't even remember his name. They've been through so many goalies right now. I can't even keep track of all the goalies that have played. Jonathan Quick, Adin Hill.
So Logan Thompson was hurt. He's not coming back.
Yep.
Yuri Patera. That's it. Yuri Patera played 2 games. Got 2 wins as well. Anyway, that's where it lies for me, Steele. Hit me with your game 1 bets, though. And also, wait. Because by the way, I listened to the entire Thursday episode. We totally forgot to give our predictions. So why don't you give me your Carolina series prediction as well before we give our prediction for this one?
Real quick. I just want to add on to what you finished with the Vegas Golden Knights, because that's who I think needs to be better as well. I'm going with Shea Theodore on the blue line. 0 goals, 5 assists in 10 games so far. 16 shots, 14 blocks, and 6 hits to show for it. To me, he's been invisible, unnoticeable, really. Just hasn't been a difference maker in any of the games, it seems like. So I think he needs to step up. I'm right there with you with the Vegas Golden Knights defensive group, even though how great they've been, could be a lot better, especially trying to defend Adin Hill in front of the crease. We are going to get to our predictions for both the Carolina Panthers first round or Eastern Conference Series, and of course the Dallas Stars and Vegas Golden Knights Western Conference Series. But thank you so much for making the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast your first listen every single day. Don't forget, we are free and available on your favorite podcast platform, including YouTube. So make sure you hit the subscribe, hit the follow button, and we appreciate all the love, all the support you show us every single day. With that being said, Flip, I'll kick us off with the Carolina Hurricanes Florida Panthers series. Because we did forget about that in our Thursday
Totally
episode. So
that's
sorry
okay
about that. Apologies out there, but we got your back now for Friday's episode. I've got the Hurricanes in 7. And I think, again, all credit due to the Florida Panthers, a tremendous postseason so far. They've been great on the road, but the Hurricanes have just been so dominant at home at Raleigh. And I just think it's going to remain that way. I think, Brind'Amour is going to lead this team to the Stanley Cup Finals for the first time since 2006. And they have a great shot. Someone just left a comment on our Thursday episode, I believe it was, about how we made a comment about Carolina, or how it's a little bit strange that Carolina is in the remaining 4. And I think we ended up correcting ourselves, saying that I just don't think anyone thought that this would be the final 4 teams remaining in the Stanley Cup playoffs. But nonetheless, Carolina deserves to be there. They've been a top 3 team all season long,
course.
top in the Metro division. But going back to the head coaching and what Brind'Amour has done for the Carolina Hurricanes, I've got the Hurricanes in 7. They've just been so dominant at home. I think they've got the better goalie. They've got the better defenseman group. And just right now, their forward core, their top 6 are just lights out, scoring goals at will.
And a huge shout out, though, also at the same time to Paul Maurice, which is like, it's weird, like cool connection there where Maurice did actually coach Brind'Amour in Carolina, and now they're going head to head, which is cool. And we're also recording this while game 1 is going, or about to go. So we're also giving our predictions there. But I think Carolina, has established itself as one of those teams that, we did have our doubts about. Were they going to be able to overcome some of these injuries to really key pieces? And that's because we're trying to poke holes in a team. It's just when important pieces like that were already down in patches, and Svechnikov goes down, Teravainen goes down, and what we thought their weakness would be is an ability to roll a balanced scoring attack. So just kudos to this Carolina team. One of the best, if not the best, blue lines in the business. And I'm going to stop now because I think the Florida Panthers also have had their run. And, look, I know I'm now going to be proven wrong for saying it this confidently. That's just how it's gone, Steele. But why not? We've been wrong this much. Give me the Hurricanes in 5 games. Wow. I think Carolina's style is going to smother this Florida team. I think it's really going to break their confidence finally for once, because they haven't had it yet. They also really haven't faced – I know they were facing Boston, but it almost felt like that series was always going to go 7 games. I know that sounds weird, even though they were up 3-1. I think they're going to face some real adversity here. I expect the Hurricanes to flex their muscle early, and let's see what the Panthers can do if they're down 1 or 2 games right off the jump to a smothering defensive squad. I know, Boston, whatever, Flip. So, Carolina in 5 games. I'm going Boldy James on this one.
Yeah, I'm not sure about 5 games. We'll have to see what happens, but I think the Florida Panthers have a little bit more credit to their name for what they've done so far. That
discrediting them. I'm trying to switch it up.
We'll have to see what goes on in the Eastern Conference.
Oh, we will.
For the Western Conference Finals, though, I've got the Vegas Golden Knights in 7 games, and this one was a real toss-up for me. I think it could go either way, honestly. Both coaches are tremendous. Both teams have been phenomenal so far.
Yeah, you're loving that coaching angle lately.
I've got the Vegas Golden Knights in 7. And again, this was very close for me. Let's not forget that this is a rematch from 2020 Western Conference Finals as well, or the bubble COVID era. So this is a rematch from the 2020 Western Conference Finals. And let's not forget that Peter DeBoer coached the Vegas Golden Knights for 3 seasons. He went to 2 conference finals with Vegas and then gets fired for going 43-31-8 and missing the playoffs by 1 point, the first time in their short history missing the playoffs. So I think, again, this is why I've got a little bit of a coaching angle this week, because this series means a little bit more for Peter DeBoer after what happened with Vegas and how they left those terms unfinished a little bit after that last season in Vegas. So it's going to mean a lot for the Peter DeBoer, the Dallas Stars, but this is a rematch. and I'm going in Vegas's favor now. I think they're going to be heading back to the Stanley
Okay.
Cup Finals, and it's going to go 7 games. So you've got the home ice advantage. And I just think that we're going to see those top guys ball out again. Jack Eichel, Mark Stone, Jonathan Marchessault, the guys on the back end are going to step up. Pietrangelo, hopefully he's not getting suspended again, but I've got Vegas in 7.
Hey, it has, to me, all the trimmings of 7 games. It feels like it's going to be a real battle for who comes out of the West, and not to discredit what's going on in the East. It just, this is where I feel these 2 teams are really going to have to fight
Yeah.
tooth and nail. Like, it's going to, in my opinion, like, go, if I were to predict, like, sometimes you and I like to go, okay, home team's going to take 2, then game 3 is this. I could see it literally going back and forth, exchanging blows. I don't know who's going to win game 1. Oh, wait, I do. That's why we're going to talk about big time bets. But also, Steele, let me leave it at this. 3 regular season meetings between these 2 teams, all taken by the Dallas Stars, including a 4-0 shutout, a 3-2 shootout win, and a 2-1 shootout win. So again, I think even though, one's a 4-0 shutout, I think all that goes to, again, that's going 7 games. 2 shootout squeakers, 1 game victories, and I'll go right into my first bet then, because all 3 of those babies went under the number, Steele. And I don't mind switching it up today because that's how much I like this bet. I'm teasing it up to 6.5. The odds are still juggling, so make sure you get the best one. That's my lock of the night. I think there's going to be some nerves here for both these teams. The stage is high. Young goalies on both sides and inexperienced for the most part, quote unquote, younger goalies. Aiden Hill's been around. Anyway, I'm selling up the under. I think it's going to be under because the defense in front of those inexperienced goalies is going to ratchet it up tonight. That's what I was trying to get there with. Lock of the night is under 6.5 for this game, Steele.
Well, hopefully our lock of the nights go hand in hand with one another, and there ends up being 6 goals in this matchup because I've got Vegas and Dallas over 5.5 at -105 right now.
That's why I tease it.
Vegas 8. Vegas is 8 out of their last 11 games have gone over the number, and Dallas 8 of their last 13 games in the postseason have gone over the number. So some crooked games for both the Vegas Golden Knights and the Dallas Stars in that second round
Except
series.
the regular season.
I know, but this is the postseason right now, so I think we're going to see the offense. I think we're going to see the offense pop out.
Just a number I got to throw out. Side bet?
No side bet.
Oh, we're both on the under. We're both on the under.
No. I'm on the over 5.5. You're on the under 6.5. So we both want 6 goals in this first game. That's why I'm saying it goes hand in hand. But I've got over 5.5 at -105. We've just seen some crooked games from both these teams in that second round series. Even back to the first round series for Vegas and Winnipeg. So I've got the over at -105. And then I've also got the Vegas on the money line at -126.
I knew you would.
I only got 2 picks, but my lock of the night is the over 5.5.
Fair. And then we definitely do have a side bet because not only are we both taking, I'm taking Stars in 7, you're taking Vegas in 7. Maybe we'll sprinkle on that one. But obviously, I have to ride with the Dallas Stars here in this situation. And at +105 Steele, this just feels like a real coin flip situation for this whole series until we see something on the ice that proves different. And I think it's such a boring thing to say at this time of year, even though it is accurate. It's the goaltending in this situation. It's such a huge opportunity here for Jake Oettinger to establish himself at 24 years old as seriously one of the best in the business. And why not do it against Aiden Hill? I know he's earned a little bit of love from the fantasy circles, but the general hockey fans have no idea who he is. So maybe he's ready to make a name for him as well. But my last pick, Steele, I have the under as my lock. I got the Stars as my second pick. You alluded to it a little bit as one of the, I think you had RoboCop Robertson as one of the X factors as a guy who you think needs to play better or both. 2 goals, 10 assists. Why not give me the Robertson anytime assist right now at -125? Just feels like one of those, you got to bet that trend, Steele. Trends are your friends in this sense. Even though you're feeling over 5.5, I'm feeling under. I'm feeling confident in the Jason Robertson anytime assist as my third pick.
You should feel confident in that pick. I like that pick as well, actually. And if we're going with the trends real quick, if we are going with the trends, not to poke holes in your bets here, but
the over, right?
No.
Don't go there.
Not to poke holes in your bets here, but the Dallas Stars lost 3-2 in overtime in Game 1 against the Minnesota Wild. They also lost 5-4 in overtime in Game 1 against the Seattle Kraken. So Game 1s have not been their friends recently.
So Stars +1.5, put a bill on it.
Put a bill on it. No, well, I don't know about that. They don't fare too well
No
in game
value.
ones.
There'll be no value.
They've
No,
got
there'll be no
they
value.
don't fare well in games one. We'll see what happens, but we are pumped for this Western Conference Finals here. It is in the making of 7 games, it looks like. Thank you so much for making the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast your first listen every single day. Make sure you're tuning in Monday through Friday, 7 o'clock in the morning Eastern time is when you can find the episodes. Again, thank you so much for tuning in for today's episode with Flip and I. Have a great day. Enjoy your weekend. Good luck with all your bets. And we shall see you back here again on Monday.